Nicky Hamid. There we go. All right, Nicky. I don't hear you, Nicky. Ask to start video. Are you there? There you are. Can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you. Hot in here. Let's see. So we are live. Can you hear me, Nicky? You can't hear me, okay. So I don't know, you might want to, you could reboot, because there might be another application that's using your microphone. It's not muted. I mean, your microphone. If you restart the computer, it might go back to the default settings. Let me go ahead and share this out. How's it going, everybody? Got 6 people in the Zoom room. Whew. It's hot. That's all I know, it's hot. Nicky's frozen. Well, whatever we do, we're gonna make the best of it. Man, burning up. DNA recalibrations. I think everybody's going through it. All right. Let's see. Tom Whitebeard, Noe Love, Robin Quarles. Oh, let's see. Hang on. Okay, unmute. He's not even here. He's on my screen. Unmute. No, he's gone. Unmute audio. Yeah. Let's see here. Who we got? Who else is here? Elena Starbuck. Oh, no sound? There's no sound. So it was me. Huh. How can there be no sound? All right, anybody hearing my voice? Let's see. Hey, Amanda, Lawrence. Well, he has to come back and unmute himself by dialing the audio. Okay, you can't hear me. All right, so I'm being heard. So, okay, let's just talk. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay, his picture's gone now, so he must be coming. We got 49 people in the house. Drink plenty of water. Well, we had a day off yesterday. It's the first one we've had, I think, in 70 days, pretty much. Let's see. Yeah, he'll have to come back in. So anyway, yeah, yesterday was our first day off in a long, long time. That'll be 2 months. Let's see. See, Amanda Lawrence is there. I'd love to get Amanda, my beloved sister, back on here, share what's been going on. Energetically, she's been putting out some posts the last 2-3 days, and along with some other people, talking about this huge plasma wave, one of the biggest ever. It was yesterday, then today it came on even more. Yeah. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, there's something going on. Something going on. Last couple of nights. 2 nights ago, people were talking about they couldn't sleep. We stayed up till the sun came up. And last night was pretty intense. I'm not totally balanced, but oh, there's Nicky. He's back. All right, Nicky. See if this works. Unmute. Okay, this is really strange. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Thank you for coming in and saving my ass.
You have no idea the trouble I've had. I spilt some coffee a couple of days ago, and I got about 6 keys that are stuck. So I've been trying cutting, pasting letters, and now this. It's just amazing.
Well, yeah, that's happened to me before. But I was reading some of these posts have been going up the last couple of days, and they're talking about electronics really doing some trippy stuff. And then I've had it happen. Morgan's had it happen. I was laying. She went to bed last night earlier than I did. So I was like researching, I didn't have any music on or nothing. And I was just like finding old Soulogy posts and just following my spirit where it was taking me. And then I'm sitting there and I'm about to go to bed, and she's been in bed about an hour, and I got this feeling like, you need to go lay down. I thought, that's weird. Okay. But I didn't listen to it. And then the next thing I know, this Mexican music, I'm Mexican, so I know what Mexican music is, a polka, or what is it called? Cumbias. And all of a sudden I started hearing this Mexican music in my headphones. And I didn't press anything. I was just on Facebook. I'm hearing this Mexican music, and I turn it off, and it's still going on. And I couldn't understand 90% of the words, but the message I got was, you need to go lay down. I'm like, all right, it was like weird. But she's been having music pop up on her phone, and other people are telling me they've had some issues with electronics. Of course, I don't know, with your case, with the coffee, it might be user error.
Well, yeah. This Nicky fellow is pretty clumsy. Anyway, no, to me, it's more than that, because it's getting harder and harder. Not harder and harder, but there are more and more obstacles coming up. And I don't feel these waves that I'm getting dozens and dozens of people who are feeling fine, and suddenly they get these waves of thoughts. And the thoughts are for some people, they're always disturbing because people finding difficulty in stopping them. But they're disturbing when they come quite extreme with jealousy and greed, and all those kinds of thoughts. They're coming up everywhere. And I can say that since I awoke in 1984, I've always felt an observer of it all. I knew what was coming, and I feel an observer of it all. So, I mean, look what happened with you and I. This is the 4th call. The first call, I mean, we've had more than that, but the first one that happened was when I spoke about father, and then we had that shit hit the fan between masculine and feminine. All right. Then I had a session where our beloved brother was in the shit, was feeling shit, and so we had we had that share.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't dare do that. And it's all good.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
But-
I know it is.
yeah. But the third one was you were feeling so bad that you cancelled the show, and that's all good. So that's 3. So poor Nicky here has hardly had a voice.
Yeah. Well, you can talk all you want.
I may be joking.
I'm
But
burning.
now,
I'm burning from this.
this one, I'm having a hell of a job doing anything on the computer.
I'm
So
burning that.
so I'm having my voice strapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
it's I sit and observe these things, and I smile to myself. They don't faze me. They
No?
don't. They don't faze me, because it's like you're seeing them going. And so many times in the past, I've gone to be doing something like going to give a public talk or somewhere, and there are obstacles put in my way.
Yeah.
Always these obstacles, and I always see that now as okay, you're going to do something important.
Yeah.
There's something to give, and there's a resistance, and I tell you that resistance is not mine.
Yeah.
It's not my resistance. And I'm going to say to all those people who are feeling good and then suddenly having this wave of thoughts and so on, you have had them, but they're not yours anymore.
Right.
They're not yours.
Right.
So there's got to be an answer to that. And that's what I would like to speak about today.
Okay. So
Yeah.
after that brilliant recall of each show, yeah, no, it's true. So I just have to tell you where I'm at. I didn't even want to come on.
No.
I mean, I was going to, but I just was like, I'm not in balance. It's so okay. I'll tell you what happened. So last night I did go to bed, and Morgan was asleep. And so all of a sudden the room filled up with all these beings, right? And then I noticed like she was on a hospital gurney, or, like a table they put you on in surgery. And there was all these beings around her, and they were fixing her, and it was like the mood or the energy was like accelerated DNA realignment, accelerated, healing or whatever, but very, very accelerated, like time's up. And so then it was happening to me too. And then I got scared because, and I usually don't get scared, but I actually saw this, like, it was like a baby dragon. It was like on the floor. And then all of a sudden it grew really big, really fast, and had one red eye, one blue eye, and it got right in my face. And then they started, and I got scared. I was like, holy shit, because it looked like it was materialized. It was more than translucent and, energetic looking. It was actually, for a little period of time, for a short period of time, it was touchable, right? So then they started working on my root and my sacral and my solar. And then I just woke up today and I was a little bit like off planet and not really discombobulated, but like to your point, I see it as something that's, if I'm feeling like this, then I know there's a shift coming. I think that's what you're saying. Is that where you want to start?
It already has shifted. There has been a shift, and because the portal is open, and I think if you've been following Susan Marie, you know that something has happened in really down to earth terms. People are still waiting for the event. Somebody posted something about a huge influx of energy I don't go into these things. I don't go into the signs. I don't go into the dates. I don't go into the numbers. Those, and I'm not putting them down. They all have a place, and they all signs and help to people. I just go into the reactions. I just not go into, but I just see the reactions, how people take them. And for me, it's just a simple thing. Love or fear, love or fear, love or fear. That's your choice all the time, love or fear. And people will very easily go into fear. If you haven't taken hold to the fullest of your knowing, the love that you are and the connection, and you always choose to go from the head to the heart before you do anything, you're going to have the fear arising. Now, the fear is going to arise in all kinds of ways. That'll be all your thoughts, and you get caught, and it's very powerful. And these thoughts, these pains, these emotional triggers, and so on, all come from deep within. But people say, "I've done the clearing." Yes, you have done the clearing. And it's not about this incarnation. You've cleared the incarnation, but it will appear as triggers and thought patterns that you have had in this incarnation. All right? It's a bigger picture. We're soul coming into embodiment. And soul, as our beloved sister, Alicia Power said, is aeons and aeons and aeons old. This is us. We are mighty beings. Mm-hmm. And a part of us is coming into embodiment. Mm-hmm. And as you have said, human is hero. But human cannot do it all. No. It's soul being. People talk about higher self, and I'm tending to move away from that as much as I can, the use of higher self, because it's still a separation. Yeah. I am soul in embodiment. That's right. I am soul. I don't have a soul. I am a soul. I am soul. I'm soul being. And I want to talk more about this because I think people are missing the point. They know this point, but they miss it. Yeah. Because they're so bound up in the human life when it's a game, it's a play. And now we get to be the child self of ourselves and play and play. Yeah. And play and stop looking at the signs and ow, I've got to watch out for that. Or what does this mean? Or what does that mean? That is here. It's not here. Here is feeling. And so what we're learning, I'm not denying or cutting across anybody else's path. There's a great plan and everyone is in it. Everyone is in that plan. And everyone unfolds. Everyone has their own path of golden nuggets that they learn, and they have to do it their own way because we're in the zone of free will. Yeah. Free choice. A choice between this and that. A choice between fear and love is the critical one. Yeah. And to stop scaring ourselves and going into fear. Stop it. It's laughable. It's laughable how so many light workers are caught in that still. And you may call this a judgment. Sure, I am judging, but I'm also discerning. My judgment is not a judgment of worth. My judgment is a judgment of sense, common sense, the difference between yes and no. And people are falling for things or getting involved in things because they're saying yes to something their heart says no. That's not right for me. It doesn't sit right. And it's about time people had took their balls and women. I mean, I remember having a conversation some years ago with Lisa, and we were talking about having balls, women having balls, and there are a lot of people who have balls, but you've got to have the balls to stand up and say no. This is spiritual puffery. This is placating because we don't want to face what's real. And I tell you what, the dark is real.
Yeah, sure it is.
Yeah, the dark is real, and there's too much lip service to it.
Yeah,
and we're not talking about we're not talking about something that is dark and to be afraid of it.
Yeah,
it's about knowing what it does, and so I'm seeing this, that what happens is as you get closer to the portal, as it were, there's more and more ways in which the other agenda will try to get in your way. And how it does it is comes through your fear. Hang on, let me finish, please. I'm on song. Thank you. I love you. I love you. And we do this with a sense of humor, don't we?
Of course.
Yeah, of course we do. Yeah, now I've lost my thread. Never mind. You said what you were going to say. Go on.
Well, I was actually going to cite your post I shared today, which I'd like to get into.
Yeah.
Because it's okay. So what I was going to say is first was that you said that as you elevate, basically, then you're going to have this stuff come at you, and so we can either look at it as you're being tested or you're a threat and they're trying to keep you down, or you can look at it as actually it's just you, just showing you more of your darkness because now you're more ready for it. You know, something to that effect. I like what you said too. I want to end this with, or I want to cite something else that I shared today, and then go to your post, because that was a really great post. And it's talking about what you're talking about. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but I think it is. So, but I want to read something to you first, because I think you really explained it very well about what we're doing here. Yes, the human is the hero, but the human can't do it by themselves, right?
Yep, exactly. So, that's what I was getting to. You go on.
So I saw this post today by Ashley Simone, my friend over in California. She writes some pretty good stuff. So she says, let me explain why this physical realm is important. To me, this physical realm feels like the meeting point, 0 point, of all the other realms. In this realm, there are multiple realms coinciding. The doorway to the other realms lie in your subconscious. For example, you could come across a sentence, and the sentence is information you need, but from a teacher guiding from outside of this realm. Eventually, you and this person will meet, you know, like an aspect, and it will become clear. But you really want to open up your subconscious mind to truly see how vast this earth dimension really is. I've accessed so many realms just by being present in my human body. There's a good reason why we are told to stay present and pay attention. When you are present, you can access all those other realms while still holding your human form. So I think that kind of goes with what you were saying. It is, the human is a hero. It is important, but it isn't everything. But at the same time, we can't get all freaked out because we block our communication. I guess you could put it that way. We block our communication with the, I can't find your, oh yeah, here you are. So, and then this post you put up, you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The one about, you put so many up, I don't know if I can find it, but it's the one about fear.
Yes.
I really like to find it. You go ahead and keep going, and then I'll find it.
Yeah, well, I wanted to raise the bar. I want to raise the bar because I'll go back to the simplicity of it. Soul, you coming into embodiment. All right. And crystalline and a new blueprint and all the rest of it. And to learn to play and create from this childlike nature that is within us. When it's not the child within me, for me, it's not the child within me, because as that child, you had an awareness which is like adult. You know, you come straight from God, you have that awareness. So it's not this getting away from the separation. Soul coming into body. So you're bringing in access to knowledge, but you don't have it all. So so you've got to start looking to the higher source of you, which is in your magnetic field. It's like to own it more and have access to it. And the clearing of the chakras and all the rest of that is just clearing the patterns so you can read, because the chakras actually have a whole infinite amount of information that they're receiving from this great field that you are, soul being.
Yeah.
And so we've opened, the veils are gone, the access is open, but you have to, by free will, make intent to move to higher aspects of yourself, not of higher self, but of yourself.
Yeah. It's
here now.
Yeah.
And but we don't have the equipment. The brain is not the equipment. It's a receiver. It's a receiver and a projector, if you like.
Yeah, transmitter.
We have the memory of the subconscious, and we have bits and pieces we haven't cleared up. In these times, you're wanting to open to that portal so that you have a fuller entry of soul into yourself. You have to clear it all. Yeshua went into the wilderness and faced the devil. Here's the darkness, if you like. Buddha, under the Bodhi tree, sat and went through the whole lot and was tempted in all sorts of ways. And they tried also to frighten him. But he stood firm in his purpose, in his heart, we'll say.
That's what your post was talking about.
Yes.
The one that, can I read it real quick? It's called, okay, it's called At Heaven's Gate.
Yes.
And really pay attention, people, because this is not what you normally hear. I really like the way you said this. Okay, so at Heaven's Gate, a word on dark agenda, flashes of evil. Okay? Light workers and even way showers are prone to ignore or even deny external forces that play and hold some dominion over soul wounds where elements of fear reside. So they don't have dominion over the soul, but they have some dominion over the soul wounds or elements of fear still reside.
That's the entry point.
Yes. Yeah. So I just thought that was a very powerful distinction, that nothing has power over, I'll just use me as an example, over me, but there might be a soul wound that I haven't dealt with out of fear that is an entry point, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, well, it can be a soul wound that needs healing, that's all.
Yeah.
It's not something you haven't dealt with. Well, you haven't dealt with the healing, as it were. Yeah. But as human, you can't heal those.
Yeah.
As soul, you can, but the soul doesn't know enough. So this is why Alicia's work on how to communicate with those helpers, if you like, your soul mentors and tutors. And those soul mentors and tutors, I mean, in itself, doing that is going further within. To be able to do that, you have to go into your finer feeling.
Yeah.
To be able to communicate. And so it's kind of like deliberately turning us round to look further. And it isn't out there, it's in your field, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
They're in your field. They had to come into the field, and you had to give you it's your free will to allow them to have access to your soul for healing, which you can't see while you're in embodiment. All right. So that, if you like, in a sense, if we're wanting to free ourselves of these outbursts, you've got to look to co-create with your higher team.
Yeah.
So while this Nicky fellow is the one who is playing in the denser field and learning to express his lovingness in any way he can, and to experience joy and pleasure, and to satisfy his curiosity, that's human as hero. On the other side, it is in the quiet times to make connection to our team and learn to converse. And we converse, and we receive, if you like, the higher intel through our finer feelings, beyond logic.
Yeah.
Logic can only understand what is past. It can't understand future or the now. It gets in the way. Logic only describes something that's past, only captures something that's gone. So what I'm saying is, where people are still trying to sort out these thoughts and emotions coming up, they're blaming themselves for it. And I'm feeling guilty and shame because I haven't cleared, and I should be. What's wrong with me? Somehow I'm worthy, not worthy, or not making, or missing something. So they're looking around all the time. And I'm saying, no. You've learned clearing, and if it is clearing, you know how to do that. But this is something more. It's like something is turning the knife in a wound.
Yeah.
And it triggers all the subconscious and all the thoughts and so on up. So it's not your fault, but we're learning to become aware and bring love to bear on ourselves, and not try to worry about and not can be so focused on what we're feeling, the emotions and the thoughts coming up, but now can become aware of how strong and resilient you are in heart, and choosing that first, no matter what's going on within your psyche. And stop, and in a way, our community is feeding each other by the outward signs, rather than taking them as golden nuggets and moving on. I'm not saying not to share.
Or you could say we're feeding ourselves by what we're taking in.
Yeah.
So this is the next part of your post, which addresses this. It is common to blame such occurrences on the reflection of self. It is common to blame such occurrences on the reflection of self. And I would add to that, the first thing we're going to think of as a reflection of self is other people. But the reflection of self is also the light beings that visit, the dark demons that visit, and anything and everything that's external.
There's one other thing. There's also other people who the other agenda is prodding their wounds to project out onto you.
Which if you're picking up that in your line of vision, in your line of spiritual vision, you ordered it. So whatever they're going through is none of your business. The fact that you're picking up on it
Mm.
is your business.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a gift for you to learn your strength, to make your choice, to make your free will choice.
But what
And
I
the
like,
free will choice is so simple.
yeah,
It's so simple. It's the 18 inches from the head to the heart,
yeah, yeah.
or from the gut to the heart.
So okay. I want to just draw these dots together because I have a surprise for you.
Okay, good.
No, this is serious. This is all in perfect
Yeah,
secret.
I know.
So we have, okay, first of all, whatever we want to call this trip, ascension, whatever, unveiling, it's a personal trip. And rule 2, don't take anything personal, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're taking anything personal, you're doing exactly what you said in that second paragraph, and you were trying to associate it with something external. It doesn't matter if it's a person or an event. Now, we take it to the next level, which is what you're talking about, what Alicia's talking about, and many others. No one has all the answers, nobody, okay? But the fact remains that the personal human incarnation exchanges that I have, we'll just use me as an example, are no different than the non-physical exchanges I have with light beings and dark beings and everything in between. I am still have dominion over myself. I still have free will and discernment. I still have to figure out, what am I dealing with up there? Am I giving my power over to something in the non-physical? Because if I am, it's no different than giving my power over to something in the physical. Now, I'll give you the last part, which just popped in my head. So you made reference to Alicia, and I love her work. I think she's a brilliant lady doing hard work. I'm doing the yeoman's work for many, many years, 27 years. And she talks about developing a relationship with what she calls creator beings, creator spirits. You can call it whatever you want to call it, right? I received mail off after that show. And the mail, I don't normally get mail that's counter so much. Sometimes they'll tell me you talk too much or stuff like that. But I don't usually get mail that says so-and-so said this and I have another opinion. I like people that make me think, because that's expansion. That's the potential for expansion. So what I heard in these 2 messages was, how do we know who those beings are? How do we know how much control or power to give over to them? You know, is this not about the I am soul? Are these not aspects of ourselves, just as you're an aspect of me and I am one of you? So I still look at everything that we're talking about here as really being the same model. And I love the way you put it, because you make it very simple, and it is simple. It's just taken us a while to figure out that it's easier than we thought. But anyway, what all I'm trying to say at the end of the day, to conclude it, is that yes, we need help. We need help. I need help from you. I need help from Morgan. I need help from other friends that I counsel with. I need help from my non-physical aspects. And I don't believe there's anything outside of me that's not inside of me. So that pretty much takes care of how this thing works. And if I'm focusing on or externalizing, like you said in the second paragraph, I'm off the reservation. That's simple. Just if my thoughts are consumed with what everybody else is doing, whether it's being done to themselves in a matter of self degradation or self-sabotage, or whether it's projecting something at me, it really doesn't matter, because my thoughts are over there with them trying to figure their shift out when I should be trying to figure my own out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. There is something else I wanted to say too, that there is help. I mean, there's all kinds of help available, and there are different ways of handling it. And what I'm talking about is only my point of view, of course. And whatever I say is not it. I know that. I know that, because I'm just a reminder, and I just paint pictures. I paint pictures, and people can like them or not, or they can develop from it. And what I'm concerned with regards to others, otherwise I wouldn't bother sharing, is their truth, their understanding, their remembering. You know, that's what really counts. But there, there's a totally not alternative, but another way of looking that perhaps because we are running, or we have run in the matrix, a software, a software which has been introjected into our mind and our emotions, that what you do with a computer is you delete and reboot the whole computer and you put in new software.
Yeah.
And so we could ask, how do you delete? How do you delete it all and start from scratch? Tomorrow, starting from scratch. How could you do that? And I think there are people who offer things that will do that. And I'll name one person because you may have heard of her, and that's Audrey Light Language. She's not, I'm sure that none of us are the only ones who do what we do on this planet, because if you like, Soulogy and all our Facebook friends are just they're not the world. They are a what is it? It's like an aspect of the collective consciousness that's operating at this time, and there are other globes of it. There must be, because there are so many nations and peoples who don't speak English. There has to be, and there are at different levels. But what Audrey does, and I only give this from my own experience, is her language is very powerful for me. I find that most light language, I can appreciate what it does for people, and I'm not poo-pooing it at all. It's just, for me, I find her language is very powerful, and it does things for me. And one of the things it does is clear. It clears in ways that I can't even put words to. But the other thing she offers are numbers, a set of codes. And I have taken those numbers and I have used them. She gave them to me, bless her heart. And I've used them. Yeah, yeah.
Keep going, and I'll talk about my experience when you're done.
Yeah, and there was a point where there was a control alt delete on my system, on my mind system, because I felt it. And so when I wake each day, there's nothing. There's nothing. I'm a clean slate. I mean, I've got memories and so on.
You declare these programs obsolete, and you remove them from the hard drive.
Exactly.
And I just want to be. I want to make sure that everybody understands what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So now we're not singling out Audrey Light Language.
No.
She was on the show a year ago, and she gave me all the numbers. Okay, pages and pages. All right. Now what you're saying is there are many methods out there of clearing things for everybody. What works for you is not going to work for me. Okay. These numbers didn't do anything for me, but they work magic for you. Her light language didn't do anything for me, but they work for you. Other people I hear, it lights me up. Some people, it doesn't resonate at all. Okay. I think it's no different. It's a placebo effect. That's all it is. It's a placebo effect. It's many of these energy practitioners that come on here talk about how the how the client heals themselves. Jesus didn't perform miracles. He witnessed miracles. Some people come into your field and you have a more kindred connection, more resonance. So therefore, the container is in the higher percentiles of full body light, or whatever you want to call it. So the potential for transformation, magic, alchemy, and healing is greater. I could step into a circle with someone that you step into, and the experience is totally different. I was shown, when I woke up, I was shown in a field. I was walking across a soccer field,
Right.
50 mile an hour winds. Well, it was probably 40. There was very high winds. Middle of the night, I walked through this. I see a circle of light on the ground. I'm walking through the circle of light. The wind stopped. I made a note of it. I started to walk out of the circle. The minute my foot hit outside the circle, the wind started. So I backed up into the circle. There was no wind. This was early in the game for me. So, but being even a beginner, I knew something prolific was happening. So I knelt down in the center of the circle, and I was shown that every one of us is the center of a geomantic dome. Now, this is just the way the universe explained it to me. And so that you could say that that's one singular in the flower of life, right? A geomantic dome. And then they went on to show me that two domes intersect and create this space right here, right? That's a shared space. That's a shared consciousness. It's a shared energy field. Call it merging, whatever you want to call it. If I step into a space with Morgan Lee, this space is at the highest potential I've encountered. If I step into this space with someone else, and it's going to be to varying degrees depending on our energetic chemistry at that point, knowing that we're all one in the beginning, in the endless end. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is, yes, there are many, many modalities and processes that have been downloaded into our friends incarnated here. And to your point, there's something out there that can help to resolve. There is something out there for everyone. Everybody's different. But if you don't think it's going to work, it's not going to work. And that really doesn't have anything to do with the modality or the person offering it. It has to do with what's going on inside of you, you know?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting point that you're bringing up. It really is. And I've noticed this, the last thing I'll say is I noticed this over the last couple of years doing these shows, because when somebody comes on and does light language or a different type of blessing or activation or this or that, I'm always amazed, because there's times when I'm thinking, oh, that didn't do anything for me. And you get 20 comments.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then there's times when I'm like, oh my God, you just lit me up and aligned my chakras, and people don't respond to it. So
yeah. I mentioned these two primarily because they resonated with me, and they did it. And you're so right. I mean, one of the things right through my life, in if you like, for the last 50, 60 years working with people, to me, it's the joy and the richness of people and how they give it. I mean, I can stand in a lecture and give a talk, and people come up and say, wow, 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 or whatever, or ask a question. But there's somebody who's come in and said, wow, Nicky, I liked it when you said that, and I never said it. I never said what they said I said that gave them an epiphany. So, you know, the richness and the variety of coming online with self is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I mentioned too, because if people want to do if they want to do the control alt delete, then that's it's available. It's available from my direct experience, because I don't like giving anything that's not my direct experience. All right, but totally, I'm not saying anything is better than anyone else's. However, what I do say is is this whole idea of soul coming into embodiment and us learning to co-create. That's the essence of what I wanted to say, and and that when you're at the door, you put those two semicircles crossing each other. I see it slightly differently, but it's two circles. And what
Yeah.
you have is the vesica piscis. It's the same thing for me.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. The vesica piscis, which is the middle. So when you've got a choice between one thing and another, you don't know what to do. You go up the middle. You go up the middle. You come to still point. That's the middle. You come to a still point. You come to your heart, at that place, and then you look. And when you've tuned into that feeling, and when you look, then you have the higher view. You're on the top of the hill, and you can see not just down in the valley where you've come from, but you also can see the horizon. And then you go back down into the valley, and you bring down that higher view. And this is with anything. So we have that soul being, and now it's getting to know and to have available our soul knowledge. And that's what the dark agenda doesn't want. It doesn't want us to have that power.
I can't relate to that.
Yeah.
I can't relate to the dark agenda. What dark agenda?
Well, it's not a dark. It's
that's me. That dark agenda is me. If I've got something, I wasn't scared of the dragon last night because I thought it was evil. I was scared because it was so physical. Okay, so that was a fright to the human, but I wasn't scared of it or fearful of it. But my point is, if something comes up in my field, if I'm walking down the street and somebody tries to mug me, or pulls a gun on me, or tries to hurt me, that going back to that vesica piscis that you're talking about, which is the same thing I was talking about. That's me. I'm looking at. I ordered that. If it's a dark entity or what we might call a dark force presenting itself to me, that's me, isn't it? Or is it?
Well, I'm saying, or is it? That's the question. For me, it's like we have wounds from experience. When the free will zone was created, to have free will, you have to have a choice. Because there's only the void, the black womb of the mother, and light. There's only the dark, which is the unmanifest, and the light, which is the manifest. And there's no choice because you know, as source being, you know. So there is a realm, there is the realm or the realities, the multiple realities, where we get to decide, we get to have free will. And to free will, we must always make a choice. So a zone was created in the middle, and that zone was totally neutral. But there was a place in which you could choose one side or the other and experience. So we've experienced the dark and we've experienced the light. We are mighty beings. We've had so much experience, but there came a time when the shadow that had no sentience, it was neutral, no sentience. It developed sentience. And then there were forces, intentions that used that shadow, infiltrated that shadow. And so the shadow realms, if you like, were hijacked. We spent aeons and aeons playing on both sides, experiences that we can't even imagine. We're not talking about lifetimes. We're talking about experience that we cannot imagine, but we've had it all. And that's where the soul wounds come from, rubbing up against shadow, rubbing up against this dark. And there's no right or wrong in it. It was part of soul experience that we had, and it's unique for each person. So in that, within the light body, you have these pockets of wounds of having rubbed up against shadow. And those things we cannot deal with. Now, I have this point of view because I grew up as a theosophist, and I was taught to be wary of the psychic and wary of premature raising of Kundalini. And I was taught to beware that there are forces and beings, as it were, that want to put blocks in front of those who are moving towards the light consciously. And that was part of it. That was part of the whole game. That's part of the whole game. And so I didn't have the fear of God put into me.
But do you still believe that? Are we moving towards the light? Are we moving towards neutrality?
We're bringing light.
Are we in the bottom line, with all higher perspectives? Are we moving towards the light? Are we moving towards neutrality?
We're moving towards the light, because the dark is just the light unmanifest.
Exactly.
Unmanifest.
So in other words,
I'm moving to heal and make neutral, if you like. This is soul. The soul.
So what you're saying, basically, 0 point is the light. 0 point is the Vesica Pisces. And that's the light. And that's the light. Yeah.
Vesica Pisces is the meeting of dark and light. Yeah. It's the meeting. It's if you like, the dissolving of the shadow of the shadow will still be there, but it will then be neutral again. It will just then be neutral. We go into still point, which is neutral. And then we make our decision from still point, which direction to go. That's free will. That's the choice. You go to still point. And still point is neutral, right? Everything just is. Everything just is. Then you make a choice which way you go. And you choose love or you choose fear.
In this realm.
In this realm. In human realm. In human realm, because we are purifying in density. Are you there? Oh, yeah. You are.
No. I was reading this comment, which goes to what you're saying. I try to be wary of Catherine McConnell. Personally, I don't think everything out there that people are doing saying is mine. If you don't wish to see something again, just say thank you, but no thank you. The choice is yours. And this is what you're saying. And this goes back to the numbers of Audrey Light language. It goes back to anything and everything. Is it not anything more or anything less than making a conscious declaration of your sovereignty on a specific
day? And conscious in the word declaration. That is no, not on my watch. No. I'm a light worker. I love, but I say no to this. I say no. I see a person and I come in too close, and it initiates something in them. And some people are catching. I say the flash, the black flash, or the sudden grim ugly face comes through and then disappears. I say no to that. I don't keep focusing on myself and saying, oh, I saw that. It must be something in me. I see it. I see the reality. It is out there. It is in front of me. Okay, it's in my field in one way. You can say that. But as human being, if you're always saying, well, it's in me, you're always in the loop of looking behind your back for something that's no longer there in human. So we're being guided and directed to the higher view in embodiment. Because you cannot go, well, I'm going to say it, but I mean, I don't know everything. But you cannot go through the portal that everybody's thinking about this event coming. You cannot go to the portal if you cannot make a decision and stand by it with nobody backing you, but because it's true for you.
Yeah.
I mean, excuse me, Susan, for using your name, but I will use it because it's here. But you show the courage to say things that are not often very acceptable because they smack of Christianity and old Christianity. But what I see you saying is the truth, but more than anything else. It's not just her, but I see many people, and I could name a whole lot, that are standing up and saying, no, not on my watch. And not being satisfied with, not falling back into, oh, maybe I'm not being spiritual. Oh, maybe that's not loving. And so that's why I've written a couple of times, stand for something, otherwise you'll fall for anything. And recognizing that there are things that come through people, they're holding things in their subconscious so that they're going to come up. And then most of them do not even realize that it happens. But when you see, when you're coming to your truth, you see the truth out there. And it's not yours, but it's yours in the sense that you're getting to recognize, you're getting to see that there are no more secrets, no more lies, nothing more can be hidden, nothing can be in the shadow. And get away with it. Get away with it because you're on watch 24/7. And it's not a fearful vigilance. It's a loving strength of who you are and the knowledge of what you're part of. And it gets to be that you cannot forget this because it's part of you. You're standing in the Vesica Pisces and being able to see this side and that simultaneously. And the two circles come together. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's simple choice. It starts with the simplest choice. Go to your heart, always. If in doubt, if in fear, if in anything, go to your heart. And soul being is immediately present. You are immediately present. And all your team are immediately present. And we get to know our team through finer feeling, not through logic, but through finer feeling. And they're all there. They're there with every one of us. And whether we play the gymnastics or whether they're in my field or part of me or out there, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'll get off my hobby horse.
You can be on your hobby horse all you want.
Because
hobby. I mean, I really think that we can overcomplicate this stuff. And that's why I liked your post, because simplistic. And, so I don't know. We're in this transition where some words served us, some words and definitions served us. And I was watching videos last night, like I told you, from 3 and 4 years ago that I did and other people did. And I was amazed at how much heart and courage and light was in these expressions. But at the same time, I realized that they don't apply today. They don't apply today. We were all in a different place 3 years ago and 2 years ago and 1 year ago and 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I think a big part of this, a lot of what I saw in these old videos that I was watching from the old Soulogy archives, so there was a lot of other people involved, had to do with this battle of dark and light, had to do with this separation. Okay. And then I think a couple of years ago, the community started moving into what you're talking about, which is that neutrality. And I guess that's where I was going with it, is that, our attention, is either on something else or it's on ourselves. But really, if we're looking at something external, which we all obviously always are, and the energies presented to us, it really is being presented to us by our own choice. Now, maybe it's not conscious, but like you said in that second paragraph, we want to externalize it. We want to put it over there. So I think there's a big difference. And I think you said this, and that is to say no. Now, at the human level, no means get away from me, or I'm not going to be over there. At the higher perspective level, it doesn't really mean the same thing.
It's not, has nothing to do with worth.
Yeah, you're not disassociating yourself from any part of the universe. You can't divorce yourself from any part of the universe. Every bit of it's inside of us. So it's, that's one thing that's kind of changed over the last couple of years. I think people are more accepting.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Yes, it is. And there is a great progress. Just that there needs to be some more straightness and straightness about it. Because, I'm saying at the moment, I'm seeing dozens and dozens of people who are freaking out because of the uncontrollable waves of thought and emotion that come, and they're trying to figure it out rather than, we say let it go. But it's a bit more than that. That it's to say, no, not on my watch. Even within my own mind, not on my watch. Yeah. Can I read you something? Because I still want to go back to solutions. I'm always looking for solutions. And for me, I'm saying a solution that may help a lot of people is this bringing in the team. And when I say bringing in the team, it's not them telling you what to do. It's you telling them what you want. As human hero, you telling them what you need. So if you are confused, I'm confused. I'm confused about this. I don't know what. Can you go in and attend to this? And they can go into the park. But they need a lead. They need leads from you. So it's building up this conversation, at least with one being, but more if you can, because we have a community. It's the same with galactic beings, beautiful, loving galactic beings, the same. You want a relationship with the star beings, you build up conversation. You build up a conversation, and your test is the feeling of love that comes from them. And nobody can fake that. Nobody can fake that if you're in tune. So we don't need to be afraid. Can I read you something that's related? And that's what I wanted to leave with. My posting this morning, can I read you it?
Yes, of course.
It's called On Opening to Higher Realms of Self. Think about this. Can you channel spirit? Can you channel spirit? Of course you can. You are becoming soul in embodiment. You, soul being, is at the very basic level, electromagnetic in the quantum field, which has existed before birth and continues after passing. It is spirit, electromagnetic, etc., etc. You are learning to listen to and channel fully yourself. Personality self is learning to give way to soul self. Channel and become a totally open expression from the truthful, loving conversation you are beginning to have with yourself. In the same way, you can strike up conversational relationships with any other spirit being. Just as your attunement with soul being, that you are, requires dedication and open listening to your finer and finer feelings in signs, visions, imaginative heart promptings, and love resonances, so too these same requirements make yourself available to any of your spirit guides, tutors, or mentors. Think about it. Your only block is your logical mind and the inattentiveness to the finer and finer feeling that is centered in your heart, and your unwillingness to trust and love, unwillingness to trust the love that you are and is the nature of all things. And I have a PS. Do you want the PS?
Yes.
And in fact, you don't channel anything or anyone when you make this connection. To channel, you willingly put aside your own sovereignty to another sentient consciousness, the quality of which you can be highly vulnerable to distortions and influence depending on your own personality resilience, filters, and the psychic strength and clarity. When you converse with soul being, you are with personality aspect consciousness of you being fully present. And you make conscious heart-based choice of what resonates and what does not, what you will allow and what you will not. So I'm saying, forget channeling, we all have spirit available to us.
I agree.
And the next step in our evolution is to make that through and get help through having that conversation with yourself.
I agree.
Where you are, where we are soul being, here now.
Right. Yeah. So
with a personality, with this Nicky fellow, who is something I've created to play in this world.
I agree.
He's the hero
I agree.
of that world, but I am now in a much bigger realm, the realm of soul beingness.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. That's why processes and modalities and cure-alls handed down from our brothers and sisters are effective, but they're also, as we go and expand into a higher consciousness and perspective, they can also become disempowering. So the bottom line is what you just concluded, and that is, this is our next step, is where we all have everything within us. Now we're in this transition in the space in between where triggers are a blessing ordered by myself, no matter who delivers it to me. You know, we're in that middle zone.
Yes.
And it's a zone where the universal law is understood at a higher level tomorrow than it was today. Therefore, truth is at a higher level tomorrow than it was today. Everything changes every day, and that's enough to keep us all busy.
Yeah.
But if I look at an example like, you know, you said that you've been getting a lot of people coming at you with that are coming to you in need or looking for some direction because they're going through a lot of stuff, right? Like they're going through a lot of,
that they've already cleared.
yeah, emotional, physical, mental, self-deprecation type of thoughts and all that stuff. I'm not running into a lot of that. I don't know why. I mean, there's so many different templates out there, so many different experiences. I think what you're saying about this whole thing about making a choice, or maybe like Morgan says, make a new choice. Every situation offers you the opportunity to make a new choice. I don't think it's about us not accepting a part of the universe or trying to divorce ourselves from a part of the universe anymore. I think it's a matter of us saying, okay, what does my particular soul enjoy? My particular soul enjoys this frequency, that frequency, and this frequency, and I'm going to go play in these frequencies and see what I can create from this blend. My soul knows these other frequencies. They are part of me, but I don't really want to deal with, I don't want to, you know, at this moment, it's just not my cup of tea, basically. Because I know itself to be true.
Yeah.
So there is no dark, as we've learned. It's and if anything's coming in dark, it's somehow, some way been ordered by us at a conscious or unconscious level or both. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, coming on to this, I had awful trouble. I mean, there's a stuck keyboard, but there's so many other things, and it's so easy, I know, to panic, you know, or have all these things come in on you, but it's just part of it, and it's not what occurs, but it's how you handle it. It's how you experience it, and what you're willing to what you're willing to take on as a heavy load, or just as a happening which you go through.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're attached or not attached to outcomes that counts. It was in the Bhagavad Gita. The great message of Krishna to Arjuna. He said, you do what you do to the best of your ability, but let go of the fruit of the rewards of your action.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, it's about the doing and the being.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. We have to face something, and we see it for what it is. I mean, if you're talking about shadow, as soon as you shine the light on it, the shadow's disappeared. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just being able to face what's there and take it in your stride.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not telling you anything you don't already know.
No, I don't. I'm here learning every day, just like everybody else.
Yeah, we do.
Absolutely. You know.
Because for me, it's just like Amanda says, you know, it's God. You know, it's coming back to God. I am something beautiful for God. Can we say that and feel it and mean it? Because it's true. It's so true. You are, to everyone that's listening, you are something beautiful for God.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nicky.
It's true. These are tears of love. This is not tears.
I know that. I know that.
I know you know, but I'm saying to people,
Yeah.
There's just no words for it. What we're part of. So stop scaring yourself, people, and just step by step. That's all.
Yeah. A good hour and a half, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That hour and a half went by like in 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I so love you, brother, and I so honor your work. Oh, can I just say one thing? The quantum healing moment that I run every month is for us in about an hour and a half. We sit in New Zealand, and everyone who wants to can join us at 12 noon their time. And it goes around the world. There are people playing gongs at their time. There are people drumming and all around the world. It's a worldwide web of love we connect to just for 5 or 10 minutes at noon, your time, wherever you are in the world.
Beautiful.
Bless you. You are so welcome.
Beautiful. Give Glenn Ray my love and a big hug.
Yeah, yeah. She's not here at the moment, but yeah, she sent it.
Did you guys do anything with your house yet? I know you had some people.
Well, we've got somebody who's interested, but we have to wait. So yeah, we don't know where we're going. We'll wait until we've got a definite buyer before we decide where we're going to go.
Yeah. All right. Godspeed on that.
Yeah. God bless you and Morgan and everyone there who's doing such a wonderful job. I so love you all.
Thank you, Nicky. Y'all take care.
Yeah. God